I'm sure you remember playing sports like soccer, tennis, or swimming when you were younger. The blazing hot sun, the excitement, maybe even winning. For many kids, both today and then, recreational sports are super enjoyable and a great way to learn about things like working hard, dedication, and competitiveness. Unfortunately, the fun is increasingly being taken out of recreational sports by coaches and parents who want their kid to specialize in just one sport in order to achieve great things. But what parents and coaches need to realize is that specialization has many adverse effects and consequently is unsuitable for children. The article Sports Specialization Part 1 defines sports specialization as year-round training, choosing only one single main sport, and quitting all other sports to participate in only one sport. While there are some short-term benefits to early specialization, the adverse effects far outweigh these benefits. Some of these effects include physical injuries like stress fractures and overuse injuries, and mental health effects like stress and burnout. And these are reasons why specialization is unsuitable for children. The first effect I want to speak about is injuries. Injuries are very common in all athletes, but even more so in specialized athletes. The most common injuries specialized athletes face are overuse injuries. These are caused by repeated movements like throwing, pulling, kicking, or jumping. Specialized athletes perform these movements every day, and they cause unchanging stress on the same specific muscle groups, which lead to muscle imbalances or overuse injuries. The most common overuse injuries faced by specialized athletes are Sever's disease and Osgood-Schlatter's disease, which both have to do with inflammation in a growth plate, and stress fractures, which is when there's so much stress placed on a bone that it fails or cracks. Personally, I've seen overuse injuries firsthand. I swim year-round for a competitive club team, and several of my teammates are specialized athletes who have been swimming since they've been 7 or 8. 2 of these athletes had shoulder injuries from the repeated pulling motion you do in swim. As a result of these shoulder injuries, one had to have surgery, and the other now can't swim over 200 meters. So we can see that injuries are a common effect of early specialization, but unfortunately, injuries aren't the only effect. Specialization takes a toll not only on the body, but on the mind. Many specialized athletes deal with poor mental health. One of the ways this happens is through feelings of perfectionism. Many specialized athletes are very talented due to their specialization, so they perform well, which earns them praise and recognition. Farther down the road, they associate these good feelings with performing well, leading to what we call perfectionism, which the American Psychological Association defines as a tendency to demand of oneself or others an extremely high or even flawless level of perfection. These feelings of having to be perfect and do your best all the time lead to fear of mistakes, fear of response from your peers and the public, and other things like anxiety and depression. Another way mental health is affected in specialized athletes is by the constant pressure they're under from coaches and parents. The article, The Psychological Implications of Sports Specialization in the Pediatric Athlete, says that significant concerns have been raised that specialization causes young athletes to focus excessively on performance, with a significant decrease in enjoyment and fun. This means that specialized athletes are more concerned with doing well for their parents and their coaches, rather than enjoying their sport and having a good time doing it. And this can lead to things like stress, anxiety, and depression. The final way that specialized athletes' mental health can be affected is by burnout, which is arguably one of the most important reasons why young athletes should not specialize. Mental health in the specialized athlete explains that burnout occurs when the extent of the physiological and psychological fatigue exhausts the athlete's ability to continue participation, potentially leading to withdrawal from the sport. This means that all the factors I mentioned previously, like overuse injuries, feelings of perfectionism, and extreme pressure, will build and build until the athlete finally breaks or burns out of their sport. Like I said before, I swim year-round for a competitive team, and though I am not a specialized athlete, I have several teammates who are. And I've seen many of them deal with burnout. Some of them have dealt with it in the way that they have quit completely and and now they are no longer participating in the sport. So from these two things, we can see that early specialization affects and takes a toll on both the body and the mind. But then the question is raised, are there any benefits to early specialization? And the short answer is not really. The strongest support in favor of specialization is found in women's gymnastics and women's figure skating. These are two of the very few sports in which peak performance generally occurs in adolescence or early adulthood, says Alex Perdiccas in the article Pros and Cons of Having Children Specialize in One Sport. Some other benefits of specialization are short-term rewards like winning, making it on a highly select team, or having more experienced coaches. But truthfully, these aren't benefits because peaking at a young age, like how many women gymnasts and figure skaters do, leads to them burning out or quitting sooner. And short-term rewards won't last and have a lasting impact on an athlete's future. These specialized athletes will still feel injuries and still get burnt out. So, although specialization is an ever-increasing trend for parents, it's better to keep your children away from it. Many kids benefit from participating in all sorts of activities. And while there are some short-term benefits to early specialization, the negative effects far outweigh those benefits. These negative effects are physical effects like overuse injuries and stress fractures, and mental health effects like feelings of perfectionism, stress, too much pressure, and burnout.
Yay!
Thank you.